Hello, my friends. It's been quite a while since I last did one of my SMS rambles, SMS being 7 minute sound bites, as you know. Today, I wanted to speak about something that's been on my mind for a day or so, and it was triggered by a conversation I had. Okay, let me just back up a little bit. So, once a month, I host something called a listening circle. And the listening circle is really an opportunity to come together in a small group, connect with people that you don't necessarily know, because, they might be strangers or they might be somebody you've connected with elsewhere before. But the idea is to come together and to create a space where people can share whatever is coming up for them. It could be a positive piece of news, or it could be something heavy that they've been carrying for a while and they don't really have someone they can share it with. So that's something that I've been doing for 4 months. Yesterday was the fourth of such session, and each time it's a bit different because the people who attend may not be the same. Something different's come up for the people who then feel comfortable enough to share it with us. So anyways, as it happens, in yesterday's session we had two gentlemen, which is nice because the group is intended for people of all genders and not just for women. And what I have noticed is that men in general find it harder to open up and be vulnerable with other men. And a space like the one I create is actually one in which they can actually come in and say things that they don't have the opportunity or the people in their lives to actually share with. So it was very it was very humbling in some ways to know that we were trusted, we as in the people who are listening, the others in the group, that we were trusted enough for these men to be able to open up about things that they would normally not speak so openly about. But the reason I'm doing this video is one of the things that one of the people who were attending was quite a young guy, really nice bloke, and he talked about how in his faith and in his culture, gratitude is a really important thing. And I think gratitude is a really important aspect of how we see life and how we actually get some perspective on some of the things that are happening in our lives that are not pleasant. So gratitude per se is a wonderful thing, and we should all practice more of it. However, the thing that he said that actually stayed with me and I wanted to share is that when gratitude becomes something that actually then becomes a reason why you don't allow yourself to grieve for something that you have lost or something you have experienced that's been very painful, then I think that's a problem. So to give you some context, if so he was talking about somebody in their community who had lost 2 children. I mean, I can't imagine a grief that can be bigger than that. And then he said how this person, rather than go into sort of, the mentality of woe me, I've lost 2 children, he immediately said, well, look at what's happening elsewhere in the world, and so many people have so much less than I do. At least I have this and I have this, so I'm not allowed to actually feel sorry for myself. And so there was almost like an emotional bypass of going from a true reason to be grieving and allowing your body to process that unimaginable grief before reaching to the conclusion that, hey, but at least I have, XYZ, and look at those people in places like Gaza, Lebanon, etc., where they have lost so much and still they carry on. So I think what I wanted to say is that people who do this kind of emotional bypass or spiritual bypass, are actually storing up problems for themselves, because these emotions of sadness, grief, sorrow, and desolation, whatever they might be, they have been created by events that have sort of created an experience for your body that you need to deal with. You can't just jump from that bottomless pit of grief and say, hey, but I'm better off than those people there, so I will not give myself permission to feel my sadness or feel sorry for myself. And actually feeling your sadness and allowing the grief to be expressed in whatever way it needs to be expressed is not the same as self-pity or feeling sorry for yourself or being in victim mode. It's quite different. And I think my message today is that we should all be more cognizant of the feelings that come up for us when we've experienced certain events, especially when they are negative events, because those are the uncomfortable feelings that we most tend to suppress or bypass. And so I think, it's a lesson that I have learned over time, and it's a lesson that, I'm keen that people discover for themselves before it gets to a stage where those suppressed emotions come up in ways that then mean basically you have certain chronic illnesses or physical manifestations of it. So thanks so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Bye bye for now.